league that offers opportunity for talented competitors to test and push our assumptions about how the game is meant to be played.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are coming at you live from Los Angeles, California. Welcome to the Blizzard Arena.
That's right, in case you forgot, guys, this is the Overwatch League. We are here in Blizzard Arena right now. Well, we're at the Overwatch League. Now you know. You're welcome.
I was confused where I was in the middle of that.
That's what I'm here for. That's right. We are here at the Overwatch League. Guys, Houston up 3 games over Boston Uprising right now. But like we say every time, the last map counts. The map score is important. Striker back in. Subbing in for Note. Well, actually, Note's still in as well. It's kind of doing a little bit of musical chairs here.
Yes, it is the musical chairs. He has not gone anywhere. So it is actually Kalios out and Striker in, but changing their seating order.
That's very confusing, but don't worry about it. Boston is fielding 6 people, and that's the important thing. Meanwhile, on the Houston side, Cool Matt in for Spree, back in once again for our final map of this series. And Banny back in again for Boink. So there you go.
There we go, though. I mean, that was a really exciting match of Kings Row. Much more competitive than the Kings Row game that the Outlaws played against the London Spitfire. And especially at the end there, love to see those kind of hero swaps and quick adjustments strategically from teams. Really worked out well.
That's a heartbreaker for Boston, man. I mean, when you take Kings Row with still a little time in the time bank and you push it away, you're like, all right, we're feeling pretty comfortable. But Houston, somehow, some way.
Kalios had the right idea, too, coming around for the flank. It was a really good setup from Boston, but unfortunately with the Maze swap, it did throw a wrench in the gears of the Boston plan.
That's right. Well, we are going to Gibraltar now for our final map of the series, a pure escort map. You just push the payload. You don't need to take any points, just push it.
Just push it.
Push it real good.
That's right.
That's right. There you go. And so, whoever pushes it farther will win, generally. That's usually how these things work. But Boston, again, at least, if they can come away from this with a map win, they'll have something. And again, just like we saw at the end of the last stage, map wins really do become important. We had spaces being determined by a single map win or loss. So, it's big.
Absolutely is. And Boston is, in spite of all their promise in Stage 1 and their rise through the ranks at the end, having a shot at the Stage 1 playoffs. In their last match, had they been able to beat the Houston Outlaws.
Bonnie, you're not for real. I don't believe you, man.
He's definitely not for real. But Boston, this would be a pretty shocking week for them if they went 0-8.
Yeah, it would be, actually.
Not 0-2 in matches and then 0-8 in map scores, because they looked like they were a team on the ascent.
Well, I mean, they were certainly living up to their name in Season 1. They were certainly uprising in this league, but, you know, now, I guess if they do go 0-8, you do whatever the opposite of uprising is.
Downfalling, I guess.
Downfalling, yeah, I guess.
Downsizing, maybe?
Downsizing. That's, hopefully not yet. That's grim, man.
That is grim.
Here we go. Houston on the defense. Boston Uprising on the attack. Desperate to come away with at least one map win here in Week 1. Trying to take that early high ground.
Back to the Mercy Widowmaker combinations that we so often see on point A in these early games of Stage 2. Linkser will be on the Widowmaker on the defense, and it'll be up to him to try and challenge Green Casper by using that Genji.
That's right. Gamsu is being careful here. Houston Outlaws probably going to fall back to that high ground. A few people over the server. Hey, all right. Widow v Widow goes Linkser's way. Does the Reds come in? I don't know if Kellex can get to him.
No, the rest of the team.
Doesn't look like it. Oh, Neko. Suddenly Linkser finding all the shots. Yeah, I meant it. All the shots. Kellex goes down on his way out. That's just going to slow Boston's regrouping down a bit more.
Tactical crouching from Linkser afterwards.
That's right. Well, it's a tea party for Boston.
It's a tea party.
You know what I mean.
I do. I do know what you mean, Noah, and everybody else does too.
If you're picking up what I'm putting down. Here we go. Boston, again, trying to push the payload a little bit more. They can dive Linkser. That would certainly tend to a lot of their problems. Ooh, going for that shot. Out of Dreamcasper, the Widow duel is real. Ooh. Oh, Kellex tries to get back to his ally, but picked out of the air by Linkser one more time, and there's another one. Linkser untouchable on this Widowmaker right now.
Just racking up the kills on supports and Widowmakers. Houston coming out with a very strong initial defense on Gibraltar. This is a map that Uprising lost when they played against the Philadelphia Fusion, and
there you go.
Outlaws certainly making a statement here in the first couple of minutes. Boston still has a large amount of time to work with, but they haven't done anything besides force an infrasight out of Linkser, so
they've
Houston staying strong with their communication. Here comes the blade.
That's right, and there goes Kellex, cut down almost immediately. Jake on the way out. Oh, on the way out of this mortal coil, actually, he gets taken down, but Houston still managing to win the fight, and there's a res onto Jake to bring the Genji right back into the action. Dreamcasper does finally find a kill onto Linkser, though.
And that's a huge kill right now, Doa, because the spawns are going to take quite a bit of time. Boston should use this opportunity to make sure they get this point A attack done.
Amuma goes out and uses that Primal Rage. Jake got into the back lines and killed Neko, though, so Boston in a little bit of trouble already. They need to push us forward here. They've got a few ults to use.
All right, Linkser's back now, Doa, so he's standing on the low ground. Striker wants to deal with him right away.
Yeah, recall comes in. Striker thinking better of taking that duel, backs off just a bit, and there's Jake again harassing. This payload has not moved for a long, long time. Now finally edging forward here as Boston tries to finish point A, but they're already under a minute here. Tranquility coming in, Striker forcing that one out of Raucus. And maybe Neko using that Zen ult himself. But where is Boston? They need to get back on this point here. Neko goes down. Oh man, Jake pushed away, and now he's got the Dragon Blade.
He's gonna come over the top with the blade right now, trying to deal with Dreamcasper, and he will take him out.
Wow, he tracked him down in midair. That is insane. Gamsu super low. Muma gets a double kill. He finished off Kellex as well. And Boston in a ton of trouble here. They may not even take point A.
Even with the advantage that they had when Linkser died, as they respawn faster, they never got on the payload, Doa.
Yeah.
Houston were stalling out the cart that entire fight until Linkser returned, so no real headway was made in spite of that power play.
Well, now's the time, man. Last second push. You gotta get on the payload. You gotta take point A and get cool, Matt. That's a good start for Striker. He was out of his mech. He was easy pickings. And now we're into OT, though. Banny, with that Valkyrie just coming up, might be able to cause some sort of fight that Houston can win. On AoE healing coming out of that, he uses it already. Kellex Neko going down. Double support kills for Houston. And yeah, that's right. Without the supports, Houston may be able to finish this one. We'll see Striker doing his best, but he gets taken down by Linkser again. And that is it. A full hold for the Houston Outlaws. Dominating on defense.
We've seen some close maps in this series, Doa. That was not one of them. Houston manhandling the Boston Uprising, never giving them much of a window at all. And Banny, take a look at him right there, had some great Valkyries that saved his team. When they found themselves down a player on two separate occasions, it was his Valkyries that kept his teammates up long enough to get everybody back into the mix.
Yeah, I mean, Banny really kind of giving you a school lesson on how to play Mercy now in this meta. I mean, you play it safe. He got the reses at the right time where he wasn't putting himself in danger, and then waiting until he needed that big AoE healing to win that last fight, even though they were a little bit short-handed without Coolman.
Yeah, and he was using the Mercy positioning so well, too, staying out of line of sight of the Widowmaker and just playing defensively while they waited for the respawns to come back and rejoin the team. So play out of line of sight, just heal up and play the payload first and foremost. And Boston scattered as they tried to approach the objective and couldn't really move the payload very far, even when they were coming in with some sizable edges.
That's right. So now Boston needs a pretty incredible defense here to win this map. That payload does not need to move very far for the Outlaws.
Does not. And Banny now going to be switching over to the Lucio.
Yeah, it's a dangerous place to put a ladder. All the way up on top there. I mean, what are you going to climb to?
That's right. I wonder where you are going to climb to.
It's a real safety hazard. Yikes. I mean, if all the rockets and gunfire weren't enough to worry about, that ladder is a real danger. Get OSHA on the phone or something.
I have to say, there doesn't seem to be a lot of concern with safety issues in the world of Overwatch.
Well, Gibraltar's supposed to be abandoned anyway in the lore, right? It's just where Winston hangs out? I think so. All right, Boston on an aggressive defense. They need to get the ball rolling early. They need to get some pretty big picks.
I mean, they have to play aggressively right now.
Yep. Hello. Houston spots him in that hallway. Boston coming out now. Coolmat demeched almost instantly. Dreamcasper, oh, down to Linkser already. Linkser trying to win this one. Oh, the duel goes to Striker, though. Couldn't get both DPS.
So previously, Doa, we did see a lot of attacking teams use a Sonic Arrow to start this map. So
True.
I'd like to see that again from teams, because that you should be expecting the forward defense there. Doesn't stop them from keeping the payload moving all the same, thanks to a nice headshot from the side of Linkser, but it's the little things you appreciate.
Absolutely. All right, well, it's a little thing now for Houston to win this map. That payload is already almost there. Jake taken down by Dreamcasper, though, so Boston can maybe get a bit of stability here. Still 3 minutes, though, for Houston to come back and push this one. So Linkser just playing it safe, taking some shots onto Gamsu there, backing away now with the pressure coming in from Kalios, or from Note, rather. Oh, and Striker down. That's a shot that Linkser was looking for earlier. And can they push it the rest of the way? Oh, it's nearly there. Less than a meter to go. Gamsu getting a bit low. Coolmat did get taken out, though. There goes Raucus, and now the Transcendence coming in. Boston might be able to make this one go just a bit longer.
Yeah, Boston holding well, but they have to use the Transcendence. So that's when it comes time for Houston to turn around and leave the payload. Tons of time remaining, and you accomplish your goal. You're coming back in with the double support ultimates, coupled with your Dragon Blade.
Yeah, and the Primal Rage, too. Muma's going to have that soon, and he can just bounce people away from the payload if worse comes to worse. So Outlaws with a lot of tools to end this one right here.
Try and get a pick off first using the Zenyatta.
Yeah,
Raucus up on that high ground. He has to trance to avoid the pulse bomb.
And need to do it. Oh, Linkser gets Kellic. So again, both supports down for Boston. Jake slicing away at Note on that Diva, and Linkser wins yet another duel against Dreamcasper. There it is, and the Houston Outlaws will 4-0 Boston Uprising.
And what do you do in that situation, Noah? You have to play the payload because it has such a low amount of distance to go, but then you're dealing with a Transcendence and a Genji who's just dashing back and forth through it, and you must stay in the Dragon Blade death zone.
That is a tough one, man. Houston, though, coming out with a massive week one. 2-0 on the week, some strong opponents dealt with. Rough times for Boston, but you have to imagine this team will be able to put it together at some point.
Absolutely. I think it's really surprising that Boston wasn't even able to take a map here.
I'm a bit surprised. No. Houston Outlaws, a team that was a force to be reckoned with in stage number 1, and they are wasting no time to give you that impression in stage 2. Don't go anywhere, guys. We'll be back with the desk right after this.
The Overwatch League is brought to you by Intel, the official computer processor of the Overwatch League. T-Mobile, America's best unlimited network. And by Omen by HP, the official PC and display of the Overwatch League.
Zoe, and I'm now joined by Cool Matt from the Houston Outlaws. They did it! What a way to kick off stage 2, winning both their games. The first one against London Spitfire, which went all the way to map number 5 and was a joy to watch. And now a very convincing lead over the Boston Uprising. Now, teams are still figuring out the meta. We saw your team successfully executing dive as well as heavy tank comps. What plays more into your comfort zone?
We prefer like slower comps where we can control the flow of the game. The meta is still definitely developing. What we see right now is not what we're going to see in a few weeks. Personally, like I'm changing my playstyle every single match. Like I'm still really learning how to function without Mercy. Before it was kind of like Mercy would sit on me, I'm invincible, I kill everybody. But now I have to play a lot more defensively. Yeah,
no more S's for you, sir. I'm sorry. But if we're looking at the stage 2 as a general thing, what goals did you yourself and also your whole team set yourself for this stage?
Well, our only goal is to win. Like we know we can. We made it so far in stage 1. We proved everyone wrong, and we're going to keep that going.
Oh, we can't wait to see what you guys have in store for us next week. Thank you so much for joining me here down on the floor. We're now heading over to a desk to break down the game.
Thank you so much, Zoe. Keep it rolling for Cool Matt, guys. One of the best divas in the game, and he shows you he can do more than that. Welcome back to the desk, everybody. I'm your host, Puckett. We've got Bren, we've got Crumbs, and we got a lot of highlights to show you. And it all starts here with Kings Row. For me, it's now my new favorite map to watch as a host of the show. What are you guys thinking of this map so far?
We had Hanzo, and it wasn't trolling. It was actually the well-executed compositions. How can you not love this map? Now that Zarya is back in, all these combos come to fruition, and as Cool Matt was mentioning, they have yet to evolve.
And speaking of those combos, we saw some alt combos coming in. Let's take a look at some of the biggest moments. You've been charging up the wheel the entire game from moments like this. Here's Gamsu showing what he can do on the Reinhardt, but it wasn't just the Rein show.
No, it was also the Graviton Surges coming out. We saw Dragon Strikes. We saw Riptides all over the place. And I mean, Reinhardt plays like this. That just really just gets me going, you know. That's the kind of stuff that you want to see when you hop into the matchmaking, when you're in your ranked games. You want to see plays like this. And I mean, this game did not disappoint in the slightest. An absolute array of ultimates being used all over the place. This was the 4K by Jake the Tire. Insane stuff throughout this game.
I mean, that's because you have so many heroes that set you up perfectly. Look at that one. Grab into bomb. That was actually countering the 4K. And this is, I think, the last push from the Houston Outlaws in OT with the nice switch to the Mei from Linkster.
It's an incredible rave that's going on right now. I mean, in general, Kings Row produces these kind of games where often you'll see this clash, this finale, right? Two teams just smashing against each other with every single ultimate they've got. And often it comes down to who can execute these ultimates better at the right time. And in this case, it was Houston. They came out on top with Kings Row, but for various reasons.
What are the reasons?
Well, we can go into that a little bit later.
Let's get into it right now. I want to start with you, Crumbs. When you were watching this map, what were you looking out for in Game 3 in particular?
So Game 3, when we went into overtime, it was a minute, right? A minute 30 at most for the time where you could crack that point. And the fact that Houston Outlaws tries with the Genji, immediately Linkster switches over into the Widowmaker, makes it work, then recognizes Widow no longer works, going to the Mei. I think that was what I was looking out for, because when you have such little time, you need to make these hero swaps very, very decisively. Otherwise, you only have one push. So the fact that they recognized that and went ahead and they succeeded with it was just sublime.
Let's take a look at that Mei play, because as you said, we rarely see Mei being used on the attack at least, and we see Linkster putting it to use. Brent, first off, explain the situation and how did he execute it well?
It's overtime, right? Linkster, he needs to make a swap. They were at an ultimate disadvantage, and he goes to Mei. Of all the heroes to go to, you might be wondering, why Mei? Why here? Why now on Kings Row? But Kings Row, the map, as you've seen it being played out, very narrow. You got these little sort of choke points, and Linkster on the Mei, you can use the ice wall, you can force your team back, you can create space, essentially. Not only that, you can block off self-destructs, you can block off Graviton Surges, you can block off
Not only that, you saw the point longer than anybody else with your wall and your ice
Just a great hero on Kings Row on that particular section. Even when teams aren't in overtime, you still see them occasionally switch to the Mei pick, because she is just so versatile on that one section.
If you ever run into Super Mei on the ladder, and she's around 2,700, she may be me. Look out for her. Nothing but Mei game time.
Nice pun on that one.
All right, well, we talked about Linkster being able to use Mei. They lock up Game 3 on Kings Row, slowing down the opponent, putting up those walls.
Game 4, though, he went with the damage from a distance. He was on fire with the Widow, and I feel like when you're watching Houston at their best, it's when Linkser is just taking faces.
Yeah, and I said this before, I said this earlier, Linkser, when he was at his best, in my opinion, was Contenders Season 1. And that's the exact same meta that we're seeing right now, and the guy just did not disappoint at all. I mean, look at this shots.
He's even doing it with a certain kind of swagger. Every time he gets a headshot, does a little crouch himself. You know, he can't be there on top of the corpses, but he just does it on his own.
We saw Clockwork in the mix. We saw Jake in the mix. We've seen Houston excelling in Stage 2 maps, but let's real quickly hit Boston. They are now 0-8 in the new meta, in the new stage. What's going wrong for the squad? What do they need to fix before week 2?
I think they're really just running into some of the strongest teams so far. Houston is definitely a contender for top 3, and you've got Philly that just came out swinging like they're one of the best teams of all time right at this rate. And so the fact that they had to play against those two teams, unfortunately, makes them look way worse than I think they are.
Houston is now 2-0, and they also feature our player of the match, sponsored by Omen by HP. Roll the beautiful footage. It's not Linkser, it's Muma, the tank came to play today.
Yeah, in general, this guy, when does he not perform? I don't think there's been ever a game where he's not turning up, either on Winston or Reinhardt, but the man does it all. And like I said before, this guy, I've known him for quite some time, but way back in the day when he was playing for Gale Force, he was just grinding out these tanks, and now look at him here in the Overwatch League as one of the very best tanks in the western side of Overwatch.
Yeah, you could almost always make an argument for him being the player of the game in the Houston Outlaws. Just such a core factor for how this team likes to play, especially how he facilitates your DPS, and we just have to give it to him at this point. It builds up. It's boiling over.
6 deaths on the entire match. Does that seem right?
And the craziest part here, guys, is the limbs. He basically had double what we saw out of Gamsu. You saw Houston focusing down the enemy tank as their own ran rampages through the Boston Uprising. Incredible performance from the Houston Outlaws. They're now 2-0 on Stage 2, but we still have another match to go. And before we get to that, guys, I want to get your thoughts. What should people be looking out for on the other side of this commercial break? We're going to see Shanghai Dragons going up against the Valiant.
I'm actually very buzzed for this game, and I say that in a non-joking way because Shanghai Dragons, they've been improving, they've been looking better and better, and Valiant, I'd hate to say it in front of the LA crowd, but they've been in a little bit of a slump right now. There's potential here for an upset, you know? You got the Shanghai Dragons, you got Valiant. I mean, you can boo me all you want.
Keep the booze coming! Keep the booze coming! That's going to do it for our post-game coverage. You can make fun of Brent in just a few moments. We'll be right back.